Okay, let's discover some of the key dialogues in ANSA version 25. And the I will switch to the surface mesh, the improve function, which is I would get let's minimize the left area, which is going to be one of the main function, the main operations to run the improve operation with reconstruct, smooth, and fixed quality as the function modes that can be in apply from this dialog. And I'm choosing this dialog since besides of its central importance, it also has all the characteristics that makes the interfacing of version 25 different to the older ANSA. All right. So let's compare this. We have, as I said, the function mode here at the top that you can choose. We have the different steps of the function or the different options of the function grouped here into those paragraphs that are, let's say, minimizable like that. Okay, so the function options, meshing settings, etc., and the main steps here at the top. One can say that, once I have set up my meshing settings, then pretty much this dialog could be already just enough, and I don't need all the rest of the stuff. Okay, let's have it all visible. The main function steps, okay, appear here as under the selection as the steps over here. Okay, the various choices of options like take the visible, take the violating elements, or select specific entities are available from this little pull down over here. I'm going to choose this corner for applying my function operation. Okay, then middlemost button, as I'm used to, I'm getting to the next step over here. You see this step is getting activated now, which is the constraints. What should happen to edges? What should happen to nodes? So should I maybe even skip this step in case I'm not interested for this step to run it in the next operation? Let me show you how this works. And then middlemost button, and I am in the preview step. Okay, these mesh parameters are a bit harsh. Let me focus on my mesh parameters. Meshing settings, okay, before we start, the 20 mil, no, that's a bit too much. I need, let's say 4 as the target length for my mesh operation. A minimum length, let's say 2, should make sense, okay? And now apply the improve operation again. Like that, notice that on the constraints level, I have now the skip operation being in apply. So now I'm doing the middlemost button and I'm checking right away the result of my function. Okay, show old and new. I can make the comparison like I'm used to. And I hope you notice the benefit. Comparing with older ANSAs. Where's my old ANSA? Here it is. Okay, comparing with older ANSAs. In which I had the improve operation in this dialog. Okay, moving from one step to the next would require this back and forth with the arrows, and the dialog and all its operation would be split up between different pages in this dialog and on the options list here at the bottom right end. Okay, obviously a total different setup here in the improve. In the new dialog of version 25, where everything is collected in one common dialog. Okay, and this logic that we just explained, okay, is pretty much applied to the whole of ANSA. Okay, now let's consider that we would proceed. Let's discover some of these operations. Let's consider that we would maybe proceed to the geometry operation in order to make some geometrical operations related to improving the topology of this part here on the left-hand side. Okay, so geometry is where I would manipulate geometry. Now, Let me explain something very, very important over here. These operations, although this is titled as geometry, this does not mean that the result is exclusively surfaces. Okay, and let me explain to you what I mean by that. The operation, for example, fill. Okay, to fill this gap over here among these conses. Okay, let's say, let's do it. Click it, click, and click, and this would be the result. Yeah, the result is now surfaces. Notice the same setup of the dialog, everything in one card. No more options lists, no more options hidden and under the options list or somewhere else, everything inside one dialog. Okay? And this particular operation now that I just did with the fill operation here on surfaces is now applicable at the same breadth, pretty much, on FE. Okay, here on the right-hand side, this is plain FE mesh, not associated with surfaces. So the same operation, okay, is applicable for FE elements at the same time, at the same breadth, and I pretty much get the same result. So this geometry ribbon does not necessarily mean geometry in terms of surfaces per se, but geometry in terms of entities that are drawn, geometries like shells and surfaces that build up a geometrical object. And that's what these functions are there. Nevertheless, some of the operations here are completely completely surfaces, completely unique to surfaces. Like for example, the heal operation. Okay, the heal operation. This is like a cleanup operation that ANSA automatically performs based on the tolerances that are set up, and that would try to fix up locations like this one. Okay. So here we have cleanup operation, paste and releases of conses. I guess no surprises there. The cons dialog is an interesting one, since this includes some options that experienced ANSA users would look for. Like for example, info, acquiring info on conses. Let's let's get a bit closer into this location. Like acquiring info related to my cons, okay? So that I get this description over here. I have the break operation applicable within that same dialog, and I have also this option here with the list of faces. What does that mean? Clicking on that cons, okay, and then middlemost button brings me to this little dialog, which gives me an overview of what are the faces connected to this cons, okay? And that eventually I'm used to clicking on the K or on the keep or the delete shortcut in my keyboard in order to delete one of the faces. Okay, so this resembles this feature here resembles the older operation of older ANSA that would be available here under faces. Faces delete I would do, okay, and then I would enter this dialog. All right, this is pretty much here available from cons. All right, similar operations available from the surfaces dialog though. Okay, so the equivalent info operation is applicable from here as well. There's the untrim option and a reduce option. The surface, these untrim and reduction options available and equivalent to the ones that we knew from the classic topo toolset of previous ANSA versions. All right. Okay. I think another interesting piece of dialogue in this geometry ribbon is we saw under design the fill operation, extrusion options, creation of fillets and open hole, and I guess one that will be interesting also over the course of manipulating geometry is the simplification option. Okay, here we have simplify holes, sharpen fillets, divide fillets, logos, flanges, details, and features. This dialog, compared to older ANSA versions, okay, incorporates technologies like cons fill hole, remove logos, the DAG operation that was available over here. Okay, so multiple function operations that were available as buttons here and there in ANSA, also split among the topo and the mesh menu. They are now grouped into this design function group over here. Edit. One of the key functions here, I guess, is the operations for insert and delete hot point and cutting and joining things. Okay, now the insert hot point as a dialog has these the snap options available as buttons in its dialog, so that I can choose which snap operation should be in apply or not. Okay, so that, for example, if I wish to apply this, if I don't wish to have, for example, this point perimeter anywhere on the perimeter, let's say I wish to apply only this and exactly in 25%, okay, distance from that point. So then I would apply a hot point right over there, always at 25%, okay, on the length of this perimeter, okay? And this way I have this operation. This combines a lot of functionality of previous ANSAs that is also applicable when I perform the cuts, okay? So when I perform the cuts, let's say that I wish to perform a cut from that location to the normal on the other side of that edge, okay? I can try to find the placement of where the planarity to the other side would be, but nevertheless, I can also, that way I would find the planar projection on the other side. But in case that is difficult to find, or if I want to be very precise with my choice, I could go here and activate, for example, only the normal to target operation, and now I can only activate that particular snap operation, and there I go. I have my project cut. Okay. All options that were previously available in the options list of ANSA, let's activate the old cut dialog over here. We had quite a few operations available here, like what happens in mesh mode, options, parameter cut or plane cut, etc., etc. This was all available here in the options list, and these functions or these options are now what has been expressed into this dialog with all of these settings. Okay, that's the cut operation. The join operation is the exact opposite and equivalent of the join operation as we knew it. So I understand that for experienced ANSA users, those of you that knew these operations in the classic tool sets of previous ANSAs, you should know your way now in this geometry dialog. Okay, proceeding with this example, let's go to the Midsurface toolset and let's see some key functionality over here. Well, the key function of this ribbon is the middle operation. Okay, the middle operation that really produces the mid surfaces of the geometry that I'm interested in. So, sheet metal mid surfacing operation, casting and extruded parts. I will focus on the sheet metal mid-surface generation, which is what corresponds to this part. And this function here is what resembles or replaces, if you want, the older mid-surface skin operation that we had in version 24 and older. This operation is applicable, although this is a revamped functionality compared to the older methodology of skin, which is still available in this operation here. So if you switch here into old skin method, you can still apply the algorithmic or that was available also in previous ANSAs. But nevertheless, I would like to focus on the new methodology, since this new methodology here is what has also revamped functionality that is mainly connected to the way the operation is in apply, and it deals with existing topological issues. Like, for example, I have a missing face over here and maybe a topological detail over there, which, this new methodology is trying to overcome upon its operation. Okay, so I will go here to select the description so as to differentiate with the entities on the left, on the right hand side, do my middle mouse button, and this is the end result. This is the end result right away in just a few clicks. So notice, I will play with the undo a little bit. Notice that the function tried to fix topological issues upon its application on the fly, pretty much. And bring me the result. Okay, and that's the logic of the new ANSA. So this is not just a new existing functionality thrown into a different mix. We have new functionality that is incorporated behind all of these new operation, and these new functionality requires a new dialogue, a new way of interacting with the user. So here you see the mesh, the mid-surface result right away, which looks pretty decent to me. Let's switch to the surface mesh dialog. So let's say the natural next step. Here I would control or make sure that I have the right meshing settings, and I apply. Okay, 4 millimeters is my target mesh size. That's the right one. Generate mesh. Generate mesh would be the function operation to produce a new mesh out of nothing, a new mesh where there's just unmeshed surfaces like here. Generate mesh has the batch operation and the meshing operations that I'm used to with the old algorithms. If you remember the generation of options like free and spot mesh and gradual and so on, all these meshing algorithms are also available within this dialog. Now I am more interested in this batch option, since based on my meshing settings and the selection that I'm gonna do, let's say this guy, middle mouse button, and voila, my mesh is directly in apply. Notice that obviously also some perimeters were joined on the way based on the simplification options that I had in apply. Okay, let's switch between topo and mesh view mode for geometry so that we can compare. Mesh quality checking is available from this button over here, which enables fringe modes, fringe quality criteria. Okay, this enables, this resembles the original hidden mode. Okay, actually, no violating element exists over here, but nevertheless, let's move a node so that you would believe me. Let's move a node to a location where it would create a violation. Okay, so here you go. This is the way to apply, to activate the hidden mode. Okay. Proof is quality. There you go. Okay.